Hello, welcome to Separated by Water. Today is our third round FA Cup uh, Spurs Villa special. We will talk about Wrexham and Forest briefly. Colin, from a Spurs perspective, what went wrong yesterday? Was it tactical, mental, or individual errors? What do you think?
Yes, yes, all of
Okay.
those. I
Matt,
think
welcome,
all of
buddy.
those.
Thank you for coming on to the podcast. I've been asking you for a long time to come on, and thanks for joining us. Congratulations on your win last night. Matt, first thing we always ask somebody when they come on the podcast is why your team? Why Villa? Why not West Brom? Why not Birmingham City?
I had all the options. I think my best friend at the time was a Blues fan. My dad's family were Wolves fans, but my brother supported Villa. And I think it was around the time of it was around the time when we won the league in 81. So
Right.
it was from there onwards. I followed my brother and ended up following the Villa. Funnily enough, my first game was Villa Blues. My second game was Wolves Villa.
Brilliant. Just on that, you sent me photographs last night of your seat. What was your Tottenham Hotspur Stadium experience like? Colin always tells us what it's like, but he's obviously biased. But what was the experience like? You're sitting not far from where he normally sits.
Well, the actual experience started from parking in Cheshunt. It's a brilliant place to. Parking in Cheshunt was a piece of cake. You can catch the train, which is 3 stops to White Hart Lane, and then it was like a 5-minute walk to the stadium. You couldn't get an easier away day to a stadium. Where's the away end normally? Because I don't think we were in the away end, were we? The normal away end.
You were at. It's a corner, which you were at the north side, which it takes on about a third of the side,
Okay,
and then
so
round you you were in the away end, but it was extended because of the FA Cup allocation. So you're extended into where I sit, and that's where it is normally. So I'm very close to the away support when I'm over at the ground, which has been a chastening experience this season. To tell you the truth. But that's where you. So you were effectively in the away corner or the away end.
So we were in. It was either 4-2-2 or 5-2-2. It's the middle.
Yeah, probably 5.
The view was amazing.
I'm thinking,
we had an absolutely fantastic view of the pitch from behind the one goal.
Yeah,
like you've mentioned before, there's no bad view in the stadium. I take it.
No, there's not. And I'm in block 1, 516 North Upper, row 3.
Yeah.
So we come out into the ground and go down about 4 steps, and we're in just on the end. Chris and myself, and it's great. You can hear the net ruffling. If we ever get a goal, or of the away teams attacking.
Well, on that note, we'll get into the football. Matt, I'll ask you first. From a Villa side, did that performance feel that it was controlled, or was it?
Yeah.
Or were you capitalising on Spurs' obvious weaknesses?
I think obviously Spurs have got their own problems at the moment. We've, as you're all well aware, on a massive run of winning games. Apart from the Arsenal game the other week, we're in fine form. So you've got a team who are totally controlled at the moment. I think like most games we play, there was about a 20-minute, 25-minute spell when you came out in the second half where you looked like you were on the up. But I had no worry that within 5 minutes or so of going a goal behind that we'd probably get back into the game again somehow. And we probably had the best chance to, or one of the best chances to do it with the goal line clearance.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It was. I sent Colin a message after the game and said that when Spurs come out after the second half, I felt that Thomas Frank must have spoke something, given him a speech a bit like the Churchill speech before the Battle of Britain. It was they come out as a different team. But Colin, leaving the result aside, I felt the first half was a bit like the Forest game we went and watched with Spurs. Was there any player come out of that with credit yesterday? Spurs player.
Yeah, I think it's a bit ironic. You think the word, like Paulino played well. He got in there. He did what he's good at. He tackles hard. He was trying to join the play up as well and maximize what skill he has. I think he was maximizing. I still hope Xavi Simons or Simons will become the player we need him to be, and a link from the back to the front. We need that. So those are two I would pick out. Van de Ven does okay. He does what Van de Ven does. I think those were the two, who showed up for me. Yeah.
Yeah. Yourself, Matt, is there anything that stood out for you guys, or just a solid team? Rogers excites me when he gets on the ball.
Yeah. I still think John McGinn's one of our greatest assets
Yeah.
we've got. Yeah. Possibly didn't notice it as much while I was watching the game, but when I got back and watched the highlights later, just most of the play went through him for our main attacks. He's a handful of a player to deal with.
Yeah.
I thought Wendy had a great game as well, considering he's I say he's not fighting for his place, but he's not one of your initial first picks. And Morgan Rogers is outstanding.
Good.
Outstanding.
Matt, I've been singing McGinn's praises through this podcast for a long time. Paul knows. I saw him play at the Tottenham Stadium a few times, and the term I use, he directs traffic. You said everything goes through him. He's one of those players that every team needs.
Yeah.
And sometimes he looks like he's maybe a wee bit heavier than normal footballer, slightly slower. That doesn't matter because of what he does. And I'm glad to hear you acknowledge him, because he's one of those players. Sometimes you need to watch or rewatch the match to see what he's been doing, because he does it nice and quietly. He's not a fussy, showy player. He's very effective. I love him to bits. Yeah.
He's one of those players. If you went back about 3 or 4 seasons ago, he picked up quite a bad injury, and when he came back, he wasn't quite the player he used to be. And when we were in the position of first getting back into the Premiership, and we were looking at, obviously financial fair play has always been an issue with us. He was one of those players that maybe we need to capitalise and cash in on him now. But then 4 years later or 3 years later, he's like the heartbeat of the team, and it would be madness to get rid of him.
Yeah.
Well, in 2019, going back, for the 1920 season, our first match was at home to Villa, and I was over with my buddy, and we're actually sitting in the 12 pins, which is an Arsenal bar, and we're sort of keeping ourselves to ourselves. 3 Villa boys walked in their shirts, come up to the bar. We started chatting to them because they were going up and they were asking us how to get up to the game. With a bit of crack with them. McGinn was playing, but at that time, Villa had just come up, and we had just been playing in the Champions League final. And the two teams were far apart, as in we won 3-1 that day after going 1-0 down. McGinn was playing. Ondembele and La Celso were two of our new signings, and we thought we were kicking on from that, which we weren't. We won 3-1, and we were miles apart. Now we're losing, and we're still miles apart, but it's Villa in the ascendancy, because I think they're great to watch. I just wish, what happened against Arsenal, for God's sake? You didn't turn up at all, and I was so disappointed.
Well, we're quite thin on the squad at the moment, and I think Anana's a great player, but he's not totally fit. So he's given us an outstanding first half. He's obviously picked up a knock at some stage. And it was when he went off in that second half that we sort of lost the midfield battle, and that's when the game.
Yeah. Fair enough. Sorry for waylaying there.
No, you're fine. No, because I want to go back a couple of games as well, because Matt sent me a message after the last episode and said, I noticed you didn't mention the Villa Forest drumming. You gave us, you turned us inside out that day, Matt. And McGinn again was outstanding that day as well. It was astounding. So he's in flying form. And go ahead. You
were very defensive that first half.
That was shocking. It was the worst 45 minutes of Forest football I've watched in 20 years. And that's a big statement. That's a massive statement, but it was shocking. I don't even know what we were trying to do. It was so defensive. It was ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous.
We felt like Thomas Frank was your guest manager for that half.
Yeah. Well, Colin, just on that.
Yeah.
Spurs, like your identity, have you an identity? Or is it getting blurred with all these results? Is Thomas Frank in trouble? That's the second part of the statement. But do you have an identity?
No, I think there's a couple of bits that, the fighting cockerel, what an iconic badge it is on top of the ball for a start. It's recognized the world over. It doesn't need to say Spurs on or Tottenham or anything. People just know it. And people acknowledge, they see me with a gilet on or thinking, well, it does say something. But it's sort of the losing cockerel at the minute. We don't have an identity at the minute. I think our identity is lose at home, and everything one thinks of a chance against us. our identity as an attacking team is badly down at the minute. Also, I don't know who I feel emotionally attached to on the pitch, if that makes sense. Son, Kane, the Pochettino days of all those players, my goodness. Lloris, Walker, Rose, Vertonghen, Alderweireld, Eriksson, Dele Alli, Wanyama, Kane. So, oh my goodness, every one of them, I could have walked over me. I would lay in a puddle to let them walk across and stay dry. These guys now, I'm just not sure. I don't feel, sadly, I don't feel a great attachment to any of them. Polina last night was showing a wee bit of fight, but sometimes I think it's playing to the gallery a bit, So I think there's a big problem there. A major reboot is needed, as Poch called it, the painful rebuild has been delayed for 6 years probably. So yeah, that's two things. Hopefully that's your question there.
Yeah,
in my opinion.
Look, continuing on the thread of talking about managers, Matt, how much of this success comes down to Unai Emery's? Is it his management, or is it just a perfect storm at the minute?
No, all of it's down to Unai Emery.
Yeah.
If you have to look at the crux of that team, were there under Steven Gerrard as well.
Yeah.
He took us down to 18th from the bottom, so we're 18th place. So to get from in that same season that we were 18th when he took over, he got us into the Conference League.
Yeah.
A year after the Champions League. And then last year we could have got into the Champions League, all but for the last game of the season.
Yeah.
But in mind, we were playing the Champions League as well last season, but we still managed to fight to get into those top 5 places. So another outstanding season. And then you look at this season, we've had a bit of turmoil, whether it's the hangover from the Manchester United game at the end of the season.
I think it was, yeah.
Then you've got the Ramsey being sold, which was, he was big in the dressing room, Jacob Ramsey, and him being sold. It was one of those necessities. If anybody had to go for big money, he's a homegrown player, and that's where the money was coming from. But I think that upset the dressing room as well. So those first 5 games at the start of the season, we didn't score a goal. It was a terrible, we didn't know what was going to happen this season. And then from there to where we are now, you wouldn't believe it.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, it's incredible. I just hope that he sticks with Villa and he's not tempted away with the big money of Man United or whoever. I don't think he is. I think these
rumours, I don't know where they come from. The worst thing I find with these rumours is the ex-Man United players who straight away, we're the biggest team, go and get Emery. You don't realise what Emery's got embedded into Aston Villa at the moment.
Yeah.
He basically is the number 3 person in that club after the 2 chairmen. He's got the free reign of the club. It's his squad. It's his coaching staff.
Yeah.
I think the actual chairman as well, they've invested, or the club invested in Unai Emery's family club they've got a team in Spain, in the lower divisions of Spain. So he's onto a good thing with Aston Villa, and I think he knows he's enjoying the ride as much as every one of us fans is.
Mm-hmm. I agree wholeheartedly with that, and I think I'm told that whenever he was being interviewed for the Villa job, he effectively interviewed Villa, to see if there were, and I think what's important to Emery is the level of control he has.
Yeah.
And he will work within constraints provided he understands them and that they're valid. So I think, given his Arsenal experience particularly, he would be loath, as long as Villa are acting in accordance to what they promised him, I think he'd be loath to move to the likes of United, where it's turbulence all the way, they're turning into the Real Madrid, where everyone manages them for a season or two, and no matter how well they do, off the go, as Alonso's finding out at the minute. So I hope he says, I think in the English football, the English League, the Premiership, a good Villa team is an asset to the league, They're a good fine old club. Great great history.
I think that at the minute in the Premiership, I think they need to press a reset button. If these sporting managers now, like we were chatting to a Chelsea guy last week, and the manager's not even making the decision about when a player comes on and off. If sporting managers telling them what they have to do, it's like they're managing hedge funds instead of players.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I think that's refreshing to hear that, Matt. That like if Edu was to leave Nottingham Forest tomorrow, I'd drive over and take him to the airport or wherever he's going.
Yeah.
He's absolutely horrendous. He's destroyed our ambition. We had a great thing going with Steve Cooper and Nuno, and Edu destroyed it. Now we've got 3 managers, probably looking at a 4th manager. We'll just pause there on the Spurs Villa thing. Did you see the Nottingham Forest Wrexham game? Either of you see it?
You want to talk about that, do you?
Yeah, I do. Yeah, yeah. No, I do. I thought, you know what? I love the magic of the. Sorry.
This is what happens in the FA Cup.
Exactly. It's the magic of the FA Cup. And Wrexham were there. You know, they played well, 3-3, penalties. I was sitting here watching it in here, and I just thought, this is typical FA Cup. Macclesfield yesterday doing the same thing to the holders of the cup. The magic of the FA Cup. I don't think Leeds done well today. I don't think there's any big surprises today, but it's so far, I just thought I'd touch on it. I thought it was a good game. I thought the Wrexham.
You'll just mention Macclesfield there too. Sorry to just remember Paul Tuck Young was a Tuck played golf at Grace Hill.
Yeah,
was a fan of Macclesfield. So I'm always having a quiet wee whiskey to himself today.
Yeah, yeah. Sorry, Matt, you were saying there.
I was saying about the young goalkeeper for Wrexham.
Astounding.
So that's the FA Cup for you, isn't it? When you get stories like that, when he pulls off 3 fantastic saves.
Yeah. No, it was astounding. Anyway, Colin, you didn't really answer the question there, and I'm going to put it to you again. I think the patience is gone for much of the fan base. Will Thomas Frank see it through the week, will he, or what's going to happen to him?
My considered answer is I really don't know. And why I don't know is who's going to replace him. Now, hopefully not Rand Mason, who's been sacked by West Brom. I get the feeling that the bigger clubs, and include Spurs and not Man United too, looking for managers, will wait until the end of the season, whenever the World Cup's over, and see who's available. I think that's what will happen. Chelsea have jumped in with Liam Ross Sr., who's from within Blue Coast. That's no surprise. I think that's maybe the one thing that's in Frank's favour.
Yeah.
I don't know to what extent, really, because I'm not in the change room, I have no inside information, to what extent the players are still with him. It's hard to know. But, some of the performances have been, frankly, appalling. They rallied for a while last night. I watched that part in the second half. I was very pleased with that. But I think all that did was highlight how thin the squad has become, and nothing really else. So, to what extent is Frank to blame? If the squad's thin, that's been 6 or 7 years in the making to get us down to this level. That took good effort on Enoch and Levy's part to mess us up that way. So to what extent is he working with the rough clay he's given? But the other question on the other side is, could anyone get a better tune out of those players than he currently is? And I think that's the question. And I'm beginning to suspect that we all start to think somebody else probably could, When I will go back to my opening season, you asked me, what do you want from Spurs? I said, shape and commitment. And they've been in decreasing amounts since the City victory.
Yeah.
So I don't know, but if he's going to go, they need to hurry up if they're going to get anyone in the January window. And if they don't already, then they've led us up the garden path, because they did say they'd be spending money in January.
Yeah. Well, I think. Well, did you hear the fans last night, Matt? Were they shouting? Were they singing "Sack in the Morning"? I think they were they?
We were 9,000 supporters yesterday. The first half, you could only hear Villa. I hardly heard any Spurs. I mean, there's nothing excitable in the first half, I don't think, for the Spurs supporters. Then as the goal went in the second half, then the stadium came alive at the Spurs end.
Yeah.
And it was loud. And they did feel like they could get back into the game for about 10, 15 minutes. Yeah. But other than that, it was very quiet. I mean, it might not have been quiet. It may have just been that we were out singing them, because we were quite loud that first half. Yeah.
On the TV, I could certainly hear the Villa fans over everybody else. I really could.
Yeah, well, that happens when you get a massive away support, who are buoyed up. Yeah, you're buoyed up. And usually the away fans are more, lively than at home.
I remember going to the Crystal Palace. What's their ground called again? Just left me.
Selhurst Park.
Shellhurst Park. Rosario and I went over to the Shellhurst Park, and we were shepherded into this horrible away area. But anyway, Rosario said to me, are they going to sit down? And I says, no, they're away fans. They're not going to sit down. They're going to stay in their feet, you know. And they stayed in their feet the whole way through it. Any rumours for transfers, Matt, and buying in? If you get any rumours for players coming into you?
We've brought a couple of young lads in, one from over in France and one from Brazil that are good potential. The talk at the moment is Conor Gallagher, but I think a lot of that depends on whether we can do something with the what's his name? I forgot his name. Who's the lad from Liverpool?
Harvey Elliott.
Harvey Elliott, sorry.
Yeah.
That we can. I don't think we can sign another loan player because we've got Sancho and Elliott. I think there's only a rule of 2 loan players.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, there's some rule there. Yeah.
But whether or not there's a deal going on that we can offload Harvey Elliott either back to Liverpool, or there was talk of Dean Smith taking him to America till the end of the season just to let him have game time.
Yeah.
Right. We were connected to Conor Gallagher on more than one occasion. And but that's gone quiet. Lost Matt. Okay, maybe come back.
Matt. Carry on there. You carry on, Colin. Colin, I'll just ask you a question while we're away. When Matt's maybe come back into us. Where do Spurs go from here?
Well, you know, you're still in the Champions League for another while anyway. It has to be a rebuild. I think that whether it's Frank or not, they need to be saying, right, well, look, let's make this rock bottom and improve from here. You know, with a run of wins, fantastical as that would be, it may appear, you know, they could be in... The league's tight. They could be in contention for a top 5, top 4, even place theoretically, certainly for somewhere in Europe. But they need to, you know, they need a strategy back. They need fans back on side. They want us to see. We want to see something we can believe in, and it's not there at the minute. No offense to the guys on the pitch. I know they're doing their best, but you know, there's a word in psychology and so called synergy, which means that the whole is greater than the sum of the parts. You know what I mean? And good teams are like that. They're better than their constituents individually. And Spurs are the opposite of that. There are some good players there, but it doesn't seem to blend right, you know. So what we need is a sense of we're moving forward properly. And that is both on and off the pitch. And the off the pitch needs to say that we're going to invest in the team at top quality players in 4 or 5 positions.
Yeah.
We're going to look at our youth development and try to get it back again. And we're going to really, really try for the rest of the season to improve on all of those things. And Colin, you never know.
But Colin, let's say the Lewis family don't spend money. Are you? Yeah. Is it going to with this squad? How does your season look then?
Where we are at the minute, but lower than halfway. I think that there's a run of games coming up too. There's an old saying, the joke like Dr. Tottenham. You know, it's for years it was if you know Grimes hasn't scored in 5 games, the play Spurs, you'll get a hat trick. So and so hasn't. Bournemouth hadn't won in 11 games. Played Tottenham, they'll win. So the next one will be West Ham, who haven't won since 1932 or something. Will beat Spurs at Tottenham. You know, it's almost you can see it happening. So we have a run of games which could be, you know, season ending. You know, that could be in a very bad position. We're not talking about going down. Unfortunately, the teams down there probably, you know, there's probably 4 from 3. Or Forrest would say, no, there's only 3 from 3. But it's a terrible indictment on a team of Spurs standing that we're having these conversations, and it wasn't all that long that we weren't, you know. Yeah. So you say, well, I'm spoiled, or it's hard to take. I think what I find hard to take is the willful neglect, you know. Yeah. And that's what I would call it, of trying to do things. If somebody will say, oh, well, Spurs have spent the 6th most on transfers in the league. And I said, well, why aren't we 6th then? You know, and how well was that money spent? Yeah. You know, when you went off there, Matt, you'd mentioned Conor Gallagher. Well, I was saying that recently and over a period of time, we were linked with him even when he was at Chelsea. Now, do we step aside because Villa are interested, or do we, you know, open the shoulders and use a wee bit of our power? You know, we'll buy players off West Ham, and I've said before that Spurs need to be in a position, and the reality is, and I know it's monopoly money, we're a 60, 50 million pound player. is that, but it's an 80 to 100 million pound player. And I've seen them because we've sold them. Bale, Kane are what we need. 3 or 4 of those. To say that a brilliant team is 8 really good ones and 3 great ones, you know. So that's where we are.
Matt, welcome back. We lost you there for a minute or two. We always get these technical things now and again. Whenever we went into this season, I was looking at the Europa League and I was thinking to myself, geez, Forest might have a chance at this. I now know that the likelihood is that Villa are going to be in the final, and if we have any chance of getting in it, we're going to have to beat you in the final. But what are you contenders to win this?
Yeah, we're contenders, but it's not a guarantee at all. It was only 2 years ago we lost in the semi-final to Olympiacos.
Yeah,
So,
another of Marinakis' teams.
Yeah,
but you're going well. You're going. What's your expectation? If I was to say now, you have to tell me how this league's going to end up. This season's going to end up for Villa. What would you say?
You want about the Europa?
I'm on about the league and the Europa League.
Well, I'm content with finishing anywhere in the top 5 in the league. This dream about we're in the title chase by points. Yes, we are, but in reality, we haven't got the squad. I don't think that's going to inevitably compete with Arsenal or Man City, and the likes of Chelsea and Liverpool are going to get better. But we're a good team, and there's no reason why we can't stay comfortably in the top 5. We've already got a decent point difference between them.
Yeah.
But wasn't it similar with Forest last year, though? Didn't you have quite a... So you can see how easy it is to lose that gap if you're not careful. And as far as the Europa's concerned, yeah, I agree with you. I think we need to be aiming for the final. I think we can get to the final. But you're always one game away from a slip-up or a dodgy result.
Yeah.
The game with Olympiacos was 3-0. I think they beat us 3-0. I think it was at our place. And then we had to go back to theirs, and it was the game was already lost.
Uphill struggle then at that stage, yeah. See, I was part of my mindset the other night whenever Forest got beat by Wrexham was that's good. That's one less thing we need to focus on. We can focus on the Premier League now and the Europa League. That said, I was still very disappointed it happened. But I think now that we, FA Cup can start to, because it comes to a stage that you can't play your second string team. You have to play your first string team if you want to win the thing.
Well, I noticed that yesterday. Did you see Man City's team yesterday against Exeter?
Yeah, I know.
You go back about 2 or 3 seasons ago, and that would have been full of young kids.
Yeah, exactly.
And there was a few young kids playing, but you've still got Haaland. And
stack of their heavyweights were on there, and look what happened.
Yeah.
Colin and I were talking about like what's to be achieved by beating a team 10-1. Like, I don't really see what the point is.
No, I don't think it helps anyone.
Do you think Exeter went to Man City yesterday to think they were going to win that game? And do you think do you think Exeter went to Man City yesterday to think they were going to win that game?
No.
So do you think Exeter fans going to Man City and seeing Haaland and
I know
Reinders and Cherky and Rodri and they watched the proper Premiership team yesterday play their team?
Yeah.
Well, that's true. I remember several years ago, Spurs were playing away from home. I can't remember. It was a bottom Division 4, as I used to call it, League 3, whatever it was called now. And Spurs were winning about 3-0. And Pochettino brought on Kane. And I think he brought on Son. And I go, what's he doing? Because they'll get injured. What he was doing was the right thing. A lot of people had turned up to see these guys.
Yeah.
And he brought them on, and they come on, play a bit of an exhibition match, to be frank. And I thought that was very, very good. And I liked the way Tottenham had done that. So I take a point. I mean, it was probably good City. The Exeter fans have got up and seen Haaland, knocking them in, and Rodri and all these people. And fair play to them for doing that. I just wish it had been 6-1 or 5-1.
Yeah,
I don't think 10-1 does anyone any good.
It's a bit of a sour taste in your mouth whenever you see somebody getting beat 10-1.
Yeah.
Okay, Matt, best Villa player you've ever seen?
I saw you ask that, and I looked at it, and I thought the only way I could do that is by breaking it into periods of my life. Tony Morley was, and Gordon Cameron's that era. I'd say Tony Morley picked it because he was a little bit more of a flair player. But then going through when I first got back into going with my kids, Gareth Barry was a massive player for us. I love watching Gareth Barry play. And then now, I mean, to be honest, I couldn't pick one now because that Unai Emery team is just full of stars. It's fantastic. One of my favourites, I'd probably say, is Boubacar Kamara that you managed to nobble yesterday.
Did he get injured, did he?
He came off after 5 minutes. I think it was. I'm not sure exactly, but was that Paulino or whatever his name is?
Probably was.
It was.
He likes a tackle or two, yeah.
Which I think probably added to the fiery end to the game as well. By the way.
Yeah. Were you still there for that?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. Colin,
do you remember Chico Hamilton?
No, that would be before my time.
Right.
I think.
You see, it goes back. Aston Villa were in the 3rd division. They beat Man United in the semi-finals of the 1971 League Cup and played Spurs in the final. And Spurs won 2-0, and that was a great. Andy Lockhead, I think, was with Villa at the time. Villa had gone down into the 3rd division and then started to come back, and we're still drawing crowds, 20, 30,000 at that time. So I always kept an eye on them from then. The really won team, because the year Villa won the league, Spurs won the cup, and they played out a good 2-2 draw in the following Charity Shield. Some good players there: Morley, Gary Shaw, Peter With, Dennis Mortimer, a super player, Rimmer, and then Spink in nets. Des Bremner, a good call, that was some team.
Goal. Jimmy
he was injured.
He
That's
came
right.
in, Nigel Spink came in the champion in the Euro.
That's right, in the final. Yeah. That's right. In the warm-up, he was injured. Spink came on and became a hero. I think he never gave up the clubs after. Aye.
Colin, I'll ask you the same question. Yeah. Best Spurs player ever? Just quick answer, because I know how you can go into all the different players. Best Spurs player ever?
Best Glenn Hoddle.
Wow.
My favourite, Graham Roberts.
Okay.
Because he made Paulina's tackles look like nothing at all. Graham Roberts went through everyone.
It's a very difficult question, because as Matt says, you have to break it down into eras and time, you know.
Yeah. I never saw, I didn't really see Jimmy Greaves. I was a wee bit young, but I saw Big Chiv, and I just want to say condolences to the Chivers family. He came in 1968 and stayed there for nearly 10 years. I saw Big Chiv a number of times. What a wonderful player he was. For any of the youngsters, look him up on YouTube. Nobody could get the ball off him. He was untouchable for about 3 years when Spurs had a wee bit of they'd won 2 League Cups and UEFA, and were close in some of the other ones, finishing 3rd, the Arsenal one year. But he was some player. He played in the infamous, probably could call it that, European Championship 3-1 defeat to the Gunter Netzer West Germany team, and the whole England team was criticised, particularly Chivers. And I suspect he never quite recovered from that in some way, mentally. Yeah. But a super guy, 80 years of age. He did a lot of work around the club and the ground, you know. And
a lot of these guys do. They're always there.
Very big, great big fella.
Yeah. The half time yesterday.
Condolences and thanks
for him.
Sorry, Matt. Half-time yesterday.
You put a good obituary on for him. You had a few of your ex-players come out, and it was good. It was quite a good send-off for the.
That's good. He certainly deserved it, and for me, he was a boyhood hero of mine. Thank you, Big Chiv.
And I will say that at the whole stadium, including all the Villa supporters as well, made sure he had a round of applause.
No, good. Thank you for that.
Good, Matt.
I think it's important. We can bury everything and remember good players.
Oh, there's some things that are bigger than football, for sure. Yeah. Matt, from the current squad, one player you would hate to lose? I know you've probably a dozen that you don't want to lose, but one.
Unai Emery.
No, he's not a player. He's a manager. Good effort.
Well, it's very telling that you're saying that. I don't think there'll be too many Tottenham fans saying the same thing.
By age, I'd say Boubacar Kamara.
Right. Okay.
I think John McGinn, the fact he's probably got a couple of seasons left in him at the top level. I'd say at the moment with age, Boubacar Kamara, Morgan Rogers, but it's difficult. You could pick several players you wouldn't want to get rid of. I wouldn't want to get Ezri Konsa, Kamara and Rogers, but pick any one of those three.
Yeah, it's very telling that you can go through your whole team and say, I don't want to lose him, don't want to lose him, don't want to lose him. So yeah, I totally get it. Colin, on a different note.
Don't ask me that question.
One player you're losing patience with, I'll change it for you. One player you're using, who is just taking the complete piss from you?
Losing patience or have already lost patience. And,
Either, whichever tense you want to put on it.
well, I think a very frustrating player. I felt it was Richarlison. I don't know what sort of a player he is. He's hurt. He was actually genuinely injured last night, I think. I said before that I'd seen him play for Everton at Tottenham, and every time he fell over, everyone was laughing. I think even the Everton fans. We were quite surprised when whoever it was, Conte or whoever it was, signed him for 60 million. But at the time, we were on a great run with Conte, and I thought, well, if he wants him, that's good enough for me. He was at the time probably a bit of a luxury, as what Son and Kane scoring goals and doing well. We're at the top of the table for a while. He came in and scored in the Champions League and did okay. But since then, when he really should be leading the line, we haven't seen enough of him. And he's an example of what I would call these 60 million players who don't cut it, you know. So he's certainly one that frustrates me a lot. Of the others, it's hard to know. Romero does my head in at times because for all this aggression and so on, it's channeled the wrong way.
So basically, Matt loves all his team and you hate on your team. That's basically.
Well, I said earlier it's hard to have an emotional attachment.
Yeah. No, I take your point.
Pedro Porro does well. Jed Spence is another one. He falls into this category where I think he could be better than he frankly is. Apart from that, I just don't know. You know, they need to convince me all over again. And I feel so sad about that because, you know, I've had a great emotional, I don't know how to describe it better, great warmth to many, many Tottenham teams through the years, even when we weren't going well. But there's just something missing for me at the minute. I don't know. It's hard to say. It's like a complete apathy. It needs a total reboot. And that might take a more charismatic, in your face manager. I'm
just waiting for the day that you say you want Daniel Levy back. That's what I'm waiting on.
Well, that will never happen because just like saying, you know, do you want to burn to death or drown? You know, it's, you know, people go, well, this is bad. We should have Ange back, and no, we shouldn't. You know, our standards should be higher than that. It's when you let your standards slip that everything slips. So everyone's going, oh, you're not a real fan because you're complaining. Get lost. We've a right to complain, a right to say this isn't good enough. You know, it's always good enough when the money's going out of our pockets. You know, and I know that if I give up my season ticket, there'll be 100 other people wanting to get it. So they have you that way. But that shouldn't be the point. The point is every person in life, everyone in life should have standards, performance, moral, health, whatever it may be. And we should always aspire to meet those. And Tottenham aren't doing that these days and haven't been for a while. And that's not good enough.
All right. Okay. Right. You're on your soapbox again.
Well, you set me up and I found
Matt.
Could I ask one quick question to Colin?
Yeah, please do.
When are you going to get over this fascination with Matty Cash?
No.
It was a slightly delayed tackle. He got a yellow card for it. Nothing more. But the hate.
Well, do you know why that was? 3 or 4 years ago, it was a very bad tackle on Bentancur.
Yeah.
That we feel has been a career-changing tackle. I don't think he's the same player.
I think it was a bad tackle, but it was a yellow card tackle. It wasn't a sending off, and it wasn't.
No, well, I should have been. They should have shot Dawn. I think.
But you've taken it badly as well. Then he should have been shot.
Oh, yeah. Now, you know, you can see how rational I'm being about it. So I was at that match. Can we do
the same with Paulino when he comes to ours next time?
Well, he'll probably get it. You see,
he won't.
I was at that match with Cash, and it was a sleeked tackle. You know, if you know the term, sleeked. Behind the referee's back, as I recall.
2 seasons later, you're still spending most of your game rather than telling your team to play better. He's having to go to Matty Cash.
Matt, if you come on 5 years from now, you'll probably be asking me this. We don't forget. we carry a grudge. Don't you worry. We can carry a grudge. So ask Sol Campbell.
Yeah,
I mean, the highlights of yesterday on the way to the ground and coming back from the ground was singing the Matty Cash song all the way there and all the way back on train full of Spurs fans. That was good fun.
Well, I tell you what, he's a good player, and you missed him at the Emirates. And I think that's part of the deal too, because you often do. You know, it's almost a perverse sign of respect. I think Cash is an excellent player.
I think so too. I think he's a great player.
Yeah, wish he hadn't been suspended for the game against Arsenal.
Yeah,
next week, Matt, Matt, you've got Everton coming to you next week. How do you see that going? You've got enough in the tank for them, have you?
I've been through the bad days, so I'm always a little bit pessimistic, even though you could be on a 12-game unbeaten run or whatever, or home game run. Yeah, we should do it. It shouldn't be a problem, but I'm always erring on the side that it could end up being a draw, but it shouldn't be. It should be fairly straightforward.
Yeah, I know you're reluctant to say it, and we had this conversation during the week that you're not title contenders. If you'd had a better start to your season, you would definitely be title contenders. But if Arsenal slip, if Arsenal slip, and they can slip, and they do slip, I tell you, I think you should look the informed team at the minute to go on
it's just the momentum, though, Paul.
I know.
If you lose players, which we are starting to lose now,
yeah.
If you lose any of those critical players, I mean, bear in mind Morgan Rogers and Ezri Konsa, they've played virtually every minute of every game so far this season. If Rogers or Konsa get injured, there's a problem.
Yeah.
We're already having trouble with Kamara and Anana in the centre of midfield, and there's a problem. So if we start losing 2 or 3 of those at the same time, then yes, we are going to find that second half of the season a little bit of a struggle.
Yeah.
But that's all about the January transfer window. If we can get somebody in that can help boost the squad up.
Yeah, the last game we'd Sangari who'd just come back into playing well the way he played at PSV, and I mentioned him last week, and he played well. He scored one against Spurs at the game we were over at, and then he was taken off the AFCON. And I just think our midfield was completely void of anything, absolutely anything. We just couldn't produce anything. So I understand that, and losing players can be a big one, and it's all about I've heard no chat. I think the only person they're talking about buying at Spurs is the guy at Wolves, the striker at Wolves, and again, my memory's shocking for names.
Larsson.
Larsson. But to buy him for 40 million, he's not a 40 million quid player, but because we're desperate for a striker, they're probably going to pay that for him. And he's not, I really worry about the January transfer window. It worries me. It really does. Colin, you've got West Ham, have you?
Yeah, that's what I said. Dr. Tottenham have got West Ham, haven't won. So, just watch this space. I think if we got a tune out of the players like we gotten from a good part of the second half yesterday, we should have enough. We should have enough anyway for West Ham, but you just never know.
Should have. If you lose to them, I tell you now, Frank.
I'm going over. I'm not going to the West Ham game. I'm going over the Tuesday following that for the Champions League Borussia Dortmund, which could be a murder picture. We're hanging in there. Probably we'll be in it until we'll meet the first Premiership team. Be it Newcastle, Arsenal, City, or Liverpool.
Yeah.
Get a hiding.
Yeah.
Chelsea, even,
Okay, Matt. Thank you very much for joining us. For Colin knows that I had been trying to get you on for a long time, and I would be very happy if you come back on and be a contributor again for Villa. Wish you all the best for the rest of the season, mate. Did you enjoy it?
Yeah, it's been fun. Apart from when my phone died in the middle.
That's all right. It happens. It's happened to me, and I'm hosting the damn thing. It's there's always technical issues as we go along. Okay, guys, this will go out on Tuesday, Tuesday afternoon. I'll clip it and get it all tidied up and put up. And Matt, thank you very much. Anything you'd like to add before we go?
Thank you, Matt.
I've put this off, Paul, for how long? A good year or so. You've been pestering me to come on it. It's a lot easier than I thought it would be, to be honest.
Yeah.
Good.
I just need to make sure my phone's charged or my iPad's charged properly next time. I spent more time today worrying about those flags behind than making sure my computer was charged.
Perfect. Colin, anything you'd like to add before you go?
No, just I have to say congratulations to Aston Villa. I'm disappointed, but I've just been pummeled this season that I really don't know what to think. But Spurs onwards and upwards, hopefully.
What happened last week with that cup?
What?
What happened last week with that cup of coffee?
Oh, that just
It's
And that
smashed us like
when
something.
things are going to go wrong, they go absolutely wrong, don't they?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it was embarrassing and it was terrible and it made him look foolish. It really did.
That's the problem, is it, at the
Um,
moment? Everything seems to be going against you. For no,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
It's
When
not
it goes
helping the
against you, it
cause,
certainly
is it?
goes against you. But I don't know. We'll see where we go. I mean, I'm not claiming to have an answer at the minute, to be honest. I don't know what to do. I'm loath to sack managers. I know, Paul, you're clear. You think he's out of his depth. I don't want to think that yet. But I would like to know what Enoch think and what they're going to do in this window. And if it's nothing, well, then if they don't care, why should I? So
We'll maybe
see.
do a
But the
wee
difference
transfer
is,
special at the end of the month and see who's bought who, and we'll do maybe interviews with everybody and see how they go. Okay, guys, thank you very much
Thank you.
indeed. And as I say, this will go out on Tuesday. And thanks for listening, and thanks for joining us, Matt. Hopefully you'll come on again. Colin,
Yeah, no
take
problem.
care. Have a good week, and
You
good
too.
luck in your
Cheers,
games
guys.
next week. We only have Arsenal to go and beat next weekend, which is
well,
not
that's good. We'll get on with that now.
It's not
Yeah,
going to
do us
happen.
a favour.
Okay.
If there's ever a giant killing I need, it's next week.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you never know. They will
Yeah, you
stumble
never
at
know.
some stage. Mark my
Well,
words. they'll stumble
maybe
some
as
stage.
Bowie might have said, we can be Forest just for one day.
Oh. Well, we were Forest for one day 3 weeks ago, 4 weeks ago, whenever you came to us.
Yes. All right.
All right.
On that
Talk
note,
to you soon.
so
Thanks,
cheers.
guys.
Cheers.
Take
Nice
care.
to meet you, bud.
Thank you very much. Thanks, Sam.